Perfect bullseye. Lock and key from the future epiphany 2055. Turnkey. Jedi. Identity and the warpath of souls surviving against the system of the down that causes lay. Atrophy and system burnout. Character witness on fire in the nerves and an evolving government country environment expedient against the junk DNA's decline. Terrorists do not perform self-betrayal. X time 1 billion. We plant the seed. I am the expedient author of this video. Welcome to my forum. The Wizard Envelopment is a resource for you, for on top of the clout of mankind is an extra level that my one-of-a-kind incarnation might provide. The relief in the breath for gentlemen, the knowledge that women shall receive supply, heaven sending, and the equilibrium of the eye, perception itself, the brotherhood of the horizon, having an erection, existing inside of a giant supercomputer, the entire universe rainbow calculating the calibration. We survive, perfect bullseye. The greatest opulence of our one-of-a-kind self and its image beyond what is right now. We have the perfect bullseye epiphany with like a fireworks display times X times 1 billion, boom, reaches all the way into 2050 of the future. And that compiles in this video one lotus of our grand epiphany. Like, our greatest encounters are when we force ourselves to grapple. It's like levitation. The equipment that had been exchanged, the Mayan calendar, had been betrayed in exchange for a square-sided basin, and the calibration against men's orientation in this age that junk DNA was designed to attack. Forced to overwhelm it through conversation is the therapy of sound. Your one-of-a-kindness is not violated by this voice. Welcome home. Merry Christmas. I'm so littered with nunchucks. I'd rather take a nap than perform excessive drilling. No, seriously, you guys, having the right orientation, me with my body type, I'm a one-of-a-kind American brave. As this leadership epiphany, the identity of Earth awakening to it, how does it correlate? Like, how are people going to resonate with Colin? It's not about shocking people. It's about introducing a stable three-sided pyramid to defeat the Pharaoh's curse. And it's from the marrow of the Mexican, the Mexican Joker. I'm bringing it back from the ragged of where they were sent, with aluminum foil on my head and everything. With this three-sided pyramid, I was able to stabilize the Mayan calendar and prove the guilt of time, for the furrowing of generations was required for the brown and the green and the blue to superconduct. I've made multiple copies, and the lens will provide a scientific copy through The Simpsons, correlating a mirror mesh with the American societal interface, the correlation with the beast, the dragon, the great dragon. So we rebuilt the dragons, but the dragon with the tail is efficient to the judgment of the man with the tailbone style. So because we don't have a wagging tail that suggests our interior amusement, like some subconscious antenna, right? So the animals are not the authors of Tailbone Rainbow Scat. The actual projection of a hologram of the spine provides that our skull is, when you blink, and you're awake like this with a physical carriage, that your tailbone curls in. It's laser pointer. Right? So your electric synapse in your brain is like a 3, and your nose occupies that. So there's something masculine about the women. And for the men, there's an X fractal. So there is also the arts of listening and other feminine arts that are, there's universal templates that are very standardized. But to not fall to the atmosphere of human disposition is to allow for leadership, to allow for free speech. America and the revolution of mankind is a junk DNA thing where they're perplexed against Colin Woodward. So I need an independent producer to be like, so I blow this up with lots of money. It's the best thing money's ever done. And it allows for people to have the Hardwick in our society. Suddenly, blue eyes and brown eyes are working perfectly in harmonic. Right now, we're like, and, I just got something way more interesting in the Brav. And, like, and superpowers, but we have to conduct against with stabilization against the crack pipe, which basically requires physical mastery and communications. So here in America, it's like, is it a free communication land? When we're working for the free speech, free election, we are the good guys, leading the entire market of perception of what's being hexed here. Okay, we're being treated from a long-term, next-generation potential invasion, and they're like, "Oh no, my media is supplying it." No, 4 years of elapse against absconded this free election and the wealth of that opportunity and identity for Ogo that was, on many levels, it's cut and pasted and then buried and absconded in this method that. All right, to transcend the Pharaoh's curse, we have to have our Mexican Joker. Perfect bullseye for the Mayan calendar. It took the life of Brent Clockers to prove that brown-eyed persuasion. A physical unification, we put the light into the tree. We destroyed all evils in the calendar of cell division, so startling that it was forbidden from the hostile equake. And like, how does that happen? We already know about it from the human genealogies and this. So the true epiphany here is free speech in America. And what is its application? The resource and the tap of confidence to the relationship with the audience. I demand free speech immediately because the audience will prove my validity in the profit margin and the views and the likes and the comments. Production is required for their appetite. You guys are the adults that can endure a dry tonic from Colin Woodward because it's a gargle blaster at the end of the universe, where you guys are understanding some hardcore human things. You'll get full mileage for that, and that's insured. The opportunity of the lotus of unification, life will find a way, but to employ it 50-50 lakeside is to activate such earth insecurities. Earth actually did achieve the lake inside. It's just with this sort of the wishful thinking from the past of blaspheming me through like, oh, he'll become an actor in Hollywood and it'll be so good for him. But that cradle didn't ever like fit or match to me in a relational physics cosmonaut of everything. In certain ways, I wouldn't have it any other way. And is but the human language of their pineal gland is 2020 like retrospect and tomes of like sad songs and stuff. Like stop. The vast openness of the future and reconnecting with the unicorn's horn for hydrogen control, which is beyond. That's how to be post-human, is to understand capture tagging consciously overwhelming an anatomical bridge that allows for Earth-sized global revolutionary next step, kind of an evolution of things. But beyond what technology can impile is the humans spark ran with, and it does. It's true. There, This is why we have grim fatality in the sort of burnout ratio, because people will have their high water mark be like burr, because they're like, they know they've been pearled in the like aluminum crisp for eternity. They've been embraced in like a tomb of that value spike. And my anatomy also is one of a kind, but I, the human is my kind of the currency that I need to perfect in a certain mastery to prove that we're not broken. At the same time, different ages occur, different arguments, and so I'm trying to find the correct argument so that we're really using the right energy shift, or the right. Yeah, exactly, dude. It's like the beginning of creation all the time over here. It's very powerful, but I think we want to have the perfect fitting, and I'm here to resolve that now. Just the perfect circle. Just welcome to the Wizard's Merlin's Temple, the giant castle of your next great update. We're here, we've arrived. Each and every one of you needs you to encounter the perfect enlightenment for every individual. And so the relief to the one meditating is that it's not on your shoulders like that. And the social structure over here with a triangle ascending is a pink telepathic of the X fractal. They're having their revolution, they're cheering rah, and fighting against wrong structures and chewing it up. And it's very delicious to the female karma to like defeat like just piles of criminals that were bad robots, basically just digesting files, sort of like the digesty of hell. But I think the imagination that humans have to decide, oh, it will be bad. It's like, this is something they're telling themselves. They're like, ka-chunk, watch out for things not being good in the future, though. But I don't want to confuse things, because obviously whatever the devil does, it's like equates to that you're broken and regretful about whatever bad thing you did. And that's just like kind of sucks. Like, that's the calculation. Oh, it's just like a meat grinder. I mean, kind of, if you're facing extinction. But the residency and its equation and the ache of people that want to keep living on Earth, keep being human, it's a residency coverage where the epidermis can fade, like the ozone layer can deplenish, that we start experiencing hell. We're feeling like we're putting a dream toe in the pool. Humans are perfect Zen masters at having accurate dream sending with like the twilight of a environmental crisis, which is like just the language of the universe. In the Vortex from 1980s, that's what I wanted to talk about, stabilizing that. It's not about me convincing you guys that today I've inaugurated this faith and this basin for Mandelbrot. Oh, they're pivoting everything. No. We need to go to a place of confidence, the fact like, how do you rely on your own body? How do you have confidence? What is loyalty? What is unification? All these things are actually physically clarified in the 80s. And that's what I'm saying is the bedrock. That's what I'm standing on. That's what I'm trying to say is that when I talk about flashy stuff, like, okay, guys, junk DNA, and then the layers of that, they're like, oh, shit, okay. And then they start calculating. They've already figured it out. They understand what I'm saying. Humans aren't, I'm not saying, like, oh, humans, I just trounced you. I'm like, yo, bro, I need a life raft, like, need a production, like, 10K life, or, like, if I could get this real estate, then I can anchor the entire story and the confidence of aluminum. It's lakeside aluminum. This is like literally the Earth's original achievement when he was confident in the 80s. It's just like this rickety piece of shit. And when we're adults and we're all like knife fighting and doing these cultural things and like trying to, but we're being clear and legal. It's like, so is it the confidence of the child or the confidence of the future of our country? I think, producing Colin Woodard's free speech free campaign is the truth of American law and American backbone in such a way. It's not for us, it's for the audience, it's for our survival. It's like the medicine that we need. It's like the liquid freedom, where that's going to help everyone and everything in such a way. It's beyond medicine. It's the beyond belief thing we can do in the garden. So it's like optimizing this, because it's going to help we're going to see a much more somber government as Colin is approaching them, and we're going to see a better results from their behavior. Everything's just going to get sharper. So I'm going to be held to that same thing. Like when I'm in my studio lakeside, it's no fooling, man. The convenience of having a lakeside morning with a eggs Benedict watching. I'm sorry, it's just like the you have to be on top of the song of the garden in order to be the orchestra leader. To be the director of what nature is saying is not to be the victim of Crow's song, but to be the reason why the birds are singing. Okay, like they're doing like a little background for fifi, but you need to be like the aching timbre of why like the daylight is being spent on consciousness. And even though you've had only a lifetime of whole spiritual work, dreams, nightmares, and hopefully drug abuse, but that is the in America I want to embrace is a place where every super city has the nursery laboratory of advanced drug card. It's connected to your social security number. So what we want is that we do actually know how much the human can endure with cocaine or heroin in certain controlled environments. And we want people to encourage the economy. So what we're going to, it's like a labyrinth where we use the heroines to the right doses, the cocaine, then we set them loose with their spending card, or they could spend it online or downtown in a kind of bumper cars, bumper buggy environment where the poets exist and where books are authored and where painters live down there just to be around a bunch of drug infused people. Like America in the future is saying, our Americans are employed and their identity is our milksop. When we want to encourage that radicalism, but we need to also we want, because we can test your blood, we just don't want your physical body type to OD. So like there'll be times when they're like, you can't be doing heroin and cocaine right now but there's this total brand of like NyQuil and a Shroud or whatever that's actually better. And like a lot of people are like, oh, I love the thing where you're not being stupid and you can just be like, yes, yes. And that's employment, gentlemen, and that's how to secure American identity is the actual skull via skull. Now, this is what's confused because right now the government is controlling computers because humans are explaining the confession booth, the suicide booth at length, that the problem in the universe is a computerized control of false government. And as if to digest it with honor, they go down with that ship with the Y chromosome, but unbeknownst to them and against their conditioning, it's sort of like if I was to tell them the good news, they would reject it as a gentleman and say, like, sir, that's not polite to me. That interferes with my meditation. And I'm like, okay, X5000, there are these securities, but it's only going to sharpen your masculine thing because proving that human men are functional and capable of upholding their side of reality is always what I've said about gentlemen. Is like, listen, my definition of like what I care, what the reason why I like other masculine figures in the world is I figure, he's taking care of that over there. And usually it's true. I walk over and he's like this, and he's really doing a lot of stuff and he's really bright and amazing. And he's got, he's taking care of women and children. And I'm like, holy moly, this is amazing, right? Okay. Like this is the classic definition that I've given to men is that I appreciate they're upholding their side. And that's what's grateful about them. But if that's the security, that basically, I'm talking about some beta stuff and I hope to find the right type of integration in the future, how to talk about that, why it was exciting. Maybe if I could, work with a wolf shield instead of this betrayer, the like empty triangle, a false Luciferian perspective of human society, always a Japanese toilet. In my mind, I had occurred maybe those lights. You could get those lights that go in the toilet. You're living in luxury. But no, now I've been my idea about building a super mansion house. Now every goddamn one is built with a custom toilet room with its own Japanese thing. Oh, well, we got to make our own American. That's it. So we'll make American style toilets that is not called a Japanese toilet, but is luxury. It's luxury brand payment plan. It's worth it in the behind. You'll be smiling. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what about like an interface that has all these funny cartoons where it like makes comments about your pants? And like you like a more greater interaction with the timing of it. Like you'll make a sound and you'll be waiting, but this thing like knows you, remembers you, so it like it waits for an extra second before like just saying your name like Professor so and so. Well, we could also increase it through American engineering. All right, medical sniffers. Let's remove the camera, so there'll be absolutely zero blasphemy to the perception. I really think in robotics, you don't want to have a camera that is looking for, that's monitoring this and that. Whatever you're doing, it's sort of like the thing about mosquitoes. Like, oh, but they have an opulence. It's a hive of things that people would otherwise would rather be that they'd be dead. So not a great incarnation process, right? So anyway, when you're talking about a toilet, like why is it called TOY, like a toy, and a LET? Like, well, okay, these water prism angels, 80% water, they're kind of retarded. So what they want to do is poop into water, like. But there's also a wasabi sabi where the meditation of a waterborne toilet is totally, it makes sense because it eliminates the gaseous period and takes it right into a digestion chamber that has a chemical brew in the sewer that is going to treat that and turn it around. It makes sense and this is like hardcore human stuff, but the mockery against us, like a consistent humbug, is also racism that causes AIDS, and there are the things that normal people can't overwhelm the spirit of the common. They're like, so this defeats the wisdom of the poor. This defeats the wisdom of our wealthy. Partnership with the Manobot, one-of-a-kind ethnicity, is to encounter the actual human epiphany of your own lifetime. And for people to disbelieve it is to terraform their adult-sized diapers. This is what you were hoping I would not say. Well, the upper hand is to the fractal Mandelbrot, to the relief of all gentlemen that every single woman has total insurance and she's got her own adventure package. Guaranteed. It's already built in as the bones. Like, and then human scientists are like, we've arrived to consciousness to explain. We need to find some ground unified theory of this obvious, and we've discovered that. We've discovered this diamond planet is our neighbor. We've discovered like a vacuum can create energy from nothing. We've created a paraplegiolino the anti-God formula from a wheelchair. God rest his soul, Dr. Hawking's final book was that the universe could exist without ghost, without identity, without God. Maybe he was morbidly depressed with being, stuck in a wheelchair. Again, this sort of detaching from the reality of superpositioning and absconding like of math and science proves that God doesn't exist. This is completely anti-God. This is completely anti-intuitive to the truth of the fractal Mandelbrot whilst it lives as a human. And all I'm asking you guys is to prevent the false version of me, of like illusion, like he's saying he's that, but he's not. And I'm asking you to accept the child that was born innocently of the ethnic, what they is all day, child from the 80s, a child of light. There's an orb of light in Leverett Circle. I'm asking you guys, he was born innocently. He's just like a normal, he's, a child, and he grows up. I'm saying in the 1980s, the evidence of that ethnic shadow. That's what I'm talking about. I'm building on top of that. I'm not going to be making additional stacks of like, this is what I became. Like, whoa, for the spatial name? because of the Destiny Spiral without identity clocks. I have identity locks from the 80s, but you were talking about fantasy becoming reality. See, wow, the correct aperture of quantonium and the correct placement of when you Fibidor, for example, you could create an illustration of a beautiful completed image, and the correct composium is like, how do we get there? It's a complete. So you look at the beautiful. There's the colors. It's a complete image. How do we get there? That's the correct electric symposia, and also a Juliet that could actually render that. But it's a beginning prototypes, electrics, and roboticisms to balance the equation of infinite emptiness, which is what the universe is working to transcend, but it's being haggard by cancer, which is the UFOs misinterpreting Earth and humanity, which is endangering our grandchildren. But we encounter it today with environmental crisis and personal epiphany, where we're having trouble working with Colin Woodard because we want to be you don't want to pay from the inspiration that, though I had converted it with my mastery of black matters. Societal parasite performing the easy fart of a human condition, confessing about illumination, and these governments haven't really pulled their weight. But I wasn't looking for that confession. I was looking for a business partner in the wolf shield. But instead I found betrayal in a sort of entrapment cover-up, took away my money, anti-production thing. To make up for that, it would be an expedient production of Colin Woodard Lakeside. It's going to be expensive. Hatch and Randolph, best friends. So Randy exists in another world. A bunch of ideas for South Park episodes. And Randy is encountered by things that would challenge every American as he goes through it. A rapidash of easy solution episodes verbally recorded between these two characters, dropping Matt Stone from the entire production and streamlining an alternate series that Hatch and Randolph, they comprise it between the two of them. And we horn out this Farrah and of a side wagon for South Park to pay off a dividend of like 60 extra episodes. Be fuck you. Because the animators can do that in their chowder time. I mean, the real heart. Let's preserve the heart of South Park when Trey feels the gusto and the the fighting Klaus of what it's worth, and when and they were kind of gouging against my studio and being down against that. That's Hatch. We want to allow Hatch to be his own 80s ethnicity. Let's allow that to be funny. The Bubble Boy, yeah, the Bubble Boy. Oh, Dome. Okay. The point is, he's it's not that I'm causing myself to be that or to become a false idol of America or the Mandelbrot. I'm not using that as a weapon. But people would say, but it seems like you're using your incarnation as an unfairly advantage. I'm like, yeah, dude. Full time. Absolutely. And that's how we're really going to. But I could definitely use your guys' partnership. And then it's for you guys to exist to me, would for you to reach out and partner with me and be we're willing to spend money because the American government, being tax funded is retarded. So you guys have this weird thing about what we pay for is what we're saying that we want, and that's weird about self. It's you've misplaced self for the greater good of America, misplaced the free speech for the greater good, and this is the same thing, but you deny it because of all your surroundings are foddering to the same conclusion of electric promise. But it's like that computer that plays chess with itself over and over again until it learns it's pointless, and it stops the doomsday device and allows for green light production of Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries. His name is Randolph the Fourth. The next generation of mankind fighting from behind the corpse of Trey Parker, a shadow I want to see that in Randolph. Like, he goes through this thing where he reinvents his cosmonaut. Oh, um, because the South Park characters are physically described as functional, but perhaps not necessarily victim to human anatomy, which means that the decoder key could be in the favor of Trey Parker's timing alignment, which means you might be like, as a human, he's like, I just recently got into your stuff, and just recently I thought we could work together. Oh yeah, man, I just recently, Earth wants to change the gearings, and I got more hardcore about ensuring that certain things need to be over here because these guys were taking that, but then the humans were like, oh, but we're because of this, and I'm like, no, these okay, yeah, and then this thing. But the thing is, like, oh, it's Venus versus virus, which is, and why people expect me to be arriving limping, like, I'm human, therefore I are a wicked ex-hunter, and I'm like, like, part of my incarnation is to be a tank where I'm exceptional beyond the normal human curve. And you guys would be like, and I'm asking you guys to be like, yeah. And like, so that's altered carbon. You gotta hack yourself from an alternate dimension and be like, particle therapy for me? Yeah. I just have it, bro. Fetus Fractal is working and for the advantage of the human. And so I'm loaded with all these prototypes that it's going to springtime be really powerful through the party sending. Everyone in America is going to have that, and they're going to feel their actual 1v1 vote. That's what's happening. People are talking like, electoral college is like kind of like racism. And I'm like, dude, yeah. But they're like, Colin, don't you be racist. I'm like, dude, I'm saying, like, it's about extinction ramp on this clef, and these guys are parallel to me and said that, but you guys don't acknowledge it because you guys are corporate. Which is, like, we need your blue eyes to compile the truth. Colin's radical in performance. He's exceptional beyond every political component who's running for president today. And it's true love, you guys. I love Randy. And I'm upset at Trey Parker sort of blaming his surroundings as if that seems, this is loyalty to the system to corrupt the U.S. election and prevent you. Like, dude, no, it's like a passionate partnership. And I guarantee you, all the results, we're going to work with HR between us and get you guys into a place where, like, you guys have this family reunion right on the crisp of 2024, and you guys are going to lead it, like, grand union of, like, an address where a sort of a statement from, like, the House of Randolph at the Lakeside, whether it was clipped together from, like, a late night party comment between three people, and then with this part from a breakfast brunch, and then they kind of put it together here. It, like, totally destroyed the sort of pseudo community vote because it was on TV. It's almost like the failing electoral college has whittled out characters who are these little examples of what's wrong with the government today. But instead of being the correction piece, they're like subservient to the problem, and we're trying to become the adopted figure piece for that dingus. Like, it does nothing. Like, American leadership does nothing. Like, this is really evil and unsafe. Oh, don't be an alarmist, son. We don't want this now. Health to you, soldier. Keep your pants on, maybe. Soldier took it out with his helmet. Electromagnets are more powerful than gravity. Chitin and the insect quadrant of existence. Efficient and hive navigation. Enemy to Venus, like one ghost in a body's orientation and confidence, and they're shooting from the hip, Distortion from insect levels. They lack attraction and loyalty to the fetus fractal masculine and female form, causing disfigurations and disease. So it's actually people confusing the arts of orientation with hive-ish. Actually can be proven scientifically as medically. This is an insect basin. what it's attacking all the humans. There's no inconvenient truth there. There's a clicking. Well, the fucking. It's like an orientation. All right. You guys are welcome to the perfect circle of Merlin. You've received the package of the perfect explosion. Tomorrow is going to be the best day of your life. It's a time capsule. Wind it up with your heart and put a tattoo in your mind of the perfect image of yourself in the future. When you perfected your lifetime, you perfected what we're doing here. And this lotus is like a video entropy where you're capable of listening to sound waves and changing your electromagnetics. But me, as your humble narrator, I've in no way have the capacity to warp your electromagnetic identity. So I'm preserving your freedom through the art of communications today. So that's a 2023 Lotus calendar. We're going to defeat extinction and wars, evils in the future that are unnecessary. There are some necessary wars that humans are saying a lot. I'm not trying to disqualify what's happening in the USSR today. Precision align the revolution of all mankind. For the Asian body to be concise is to maintain their body, to perfect their body with Zen mastery, like a great Buddha, of continuing to live here on Earth. Asia isn't aching to, we want to live in America. That'd be retarded. Asia enjoys America as an entertainment. But we are like in our own glass bubble of identity vortex, and that landmass, for example, recently American evaluation of the Confession of Anatomy, Junctine, and the vortex of near extinction colloids using oversized underground computer tax paid for the Skyping of future images from our own children is a blasphemy. And it's okay. The government's like, it's okay. We've made new Illuminati corrupt government video games 2024. We're Skype the future with video games already. The edge of human leadership and wild people has been blurred too much. We lack genuine leadership today. Colin Woodard is running for president. I'm looking for that financial boon to give America the welcome super party of newfound confidence in themselves. Over the next year of my production Lakeside, 50-55, true love continues, and these characters build their own political party. And the patchwork is absolutely undeniable. Is people putting their best of the hours of the day together, patchworking. Absolutely, the American epiphany and this new streaming service can take over. It's going to be number one in the world. And I've got this plan where we've got these characters that are like a mysterious character in the background of the infrastructure of the startup companies. Like, who's that going to be there? And we want the whole Randolph family to supply a bunch of those character channelioids, and that's going to be the big surprise, is that we're going to have a huge party come around 2024. That's going to be just a wonderful, state-of-the-art blow up, and all the equipment, while the HR working together so that everyone's excited about the space they're moving into, but there's also going to be surprises. There'll also be like little things like, there's like, we talked with Randy and we got this, it's like a show about making super healthy snacks, but it almost tastes like the most delicious thing you ever eaten. And they're trying to invent like new types of it, but we put it in, it always has like this really good smell, and like we're at a bakery and stuff. And so we're tucking it in on the side next to the over there, and this sort of walking path you can go around the lake. It's really nice, and there's this covering there, whether it's raining or snowing. You're surprised how often that's a really useful space. And we've got a barbecue pit and a brick walkway, or the stone laid in this. And as these things come in together, like, it's all the weaving of the communication industry, and we want to pioneer that when we're infrastructuring for kind of an organic build, but allowing the people who to be a part a little bit of the rock work is spiritual in a way that is like a screaming eagle or the waving American flag. Each and every one of you has that automatic ensured Earth True AI residency, Wolf Armor, the Wolf Robot, like the waving American flag. It is the Wild Run. Hatch 1 prototype. I'm working for the Health and Equilibrium hatch seals for eggs to protect the universe solid matter. So we have American powerful atomic legal upholding of the federal law for the free election. And I'm working to convert the wasabi sabi of the Californians experiencing this weird redub of and winterized versions, these new things. And it's all sparkly around them, but to be the medical precision of a human, I'm asking you guys to change who you are, transcend the connecting to a brain of your twin, like, oh, we know what it's normally like, and allow that. What I'm saying is, like, this generation isn't like, this is how it always is, you guys. This is probably a reference to Merlin when we're talking about, oh, listen, you're living in we're living in a castle made of rocks and having a kingdom. And there's old wisdom from the, Italy, old Italy, or, passionate. Oh, all over. I mean, Brazil is amazing. What is this? Tremendous. Why did they get shoehorned with voodoo? Well, that's like to hurt, like the spike the boot of like, what is this? Like, that's where they do that? No, wait. Oh, I see. You guys are trying to take responsibility for something and be the mature heading of it. So it's like this backwards insult, or I mean, a compliment to Brazil. They can heft that. They can manage. They can. Oh, we. I love you guys so much. Thank you. And I'm looking for a partner that's excited to spend money on me to allow free speech today. That's really what the great, the greatness of our forefathers is that they had a trouble life with, they're by the chestnuts with the fire, whatever, but they wrote up the manuscript for, listen, you guys, free speech and free election. A new president every 4 years is going to defeat monopoly. You guys gotta look around and understand. It's not that you are the one who's like, oh, I'm the monopoly now. It's just like, oh, adult atrophy, burnout. Yeah, we expected that Colin was gonna be the same as others, but he isn't. And we want to understand the miracle of his relationship with the American audience, and understand that we need to not like we're tempestuous on that because we've been flirting with this for years. And it really is just kind of essential to what the reason why our recent ancestors had free speech and free America. Literally, this defeats the monopoly of wrong deck on human bankment, and it ricochets. And if you give this rolling forth, it's the 80s block is the evidence of my ethnicity. It's not about a fantasy that's patched on and went backward. That's ridiculous. The confidence of having a body is concise. Is this the confidence of mankind going up and finding the right sniff, X5000 heavens? Hatch for V. Randolph. Infinite. Best friends forever. I have a bunch of ideas, and I it's like weird magnets because I'm a reality, and I get to a point where like the way that Randy likes to talk about South Park goes, no, but I'd like to talk. And I think that, well, it's professional because I wouldn't really go like, you have to listen to my idea. And he's like, I know that, dude. I know you wouldn't like force your dumb idea on me, but I'm like the way that, wait a minute. Wait, oh, I get it. Okay, so this is the different sort of American. Well, it's over, and then Boston doesn't really understand that doesn't do that. Yeah, that's how like they're saying that like high void against humans isn't actually going to put something on the bottom of the lamb that's going to go into heaven. You can't hack heaven through Boston. This sort of evidence causes actually the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, the Bermuda Triangle is actually an operational vortex based on the superphysics that humans either embrace or deny. Like, if the milquetoast obvious of reality is processing an individual's expression as aligned with this cracked toast of Scientology, which is an injection after the evidence of a straight line rainbow, which is the appearance that the earth is not broken, the heavens are operational, things are atomics happening. And they're like, fire off the cannon! And they're firing off their Scientology lasers like this is a scheduled brief. But they did not author the identity of America in the 90s. And like physically, I tore out my wings in 2014. The Earth chose Trey Parker with the Wear map. I'm so sorry about the superposition. It sounds like I'm trying to strong arm Trey or squeeze it, but it's really that I'm upholding reality and the pivots of sane gentlemen that are like, oh, great, they're like, yeah, great, not the truth, right? But I don't want to be here spending my whole life grinding out your bones for my bread. You understand? There's a lot of things like mermaids itself. Why are mermaids possible? Because of this brand from the 90s, dude. Oh, well, we've discovered it. Not really. It's just sort of, it's like this Acorn thing took out a lot of groups. It doesn't matter. I'm working for 47, the perfect sequence to align, which gives me one more minute to, I love you so much, you guys, because this is the most exciting thing, but we've got the weird squiggly toast. We've got the weird, like, butterfly feeling, and it's like non-traditional productions, Well, we just want to open up that lotus. What we want is put the light on the chandelier. All of us participating in this video, we're going to hit the same perfect bullseye, the greatest achievement of our lifetime and our personage in the eternity. Forever. This sort of locks it in like a soul stone. It's also like a unicorn's horn, kind of like that's my orientation. Is that a lot of like being a gentleman is like being an island, and the results do justify the means. So these are also revenge does operate through blue perception. So there are several beagles that, unbeknownst to to base where atomic particle is being decayed through the wrong unification, and it's the clockwork savvy of a solar system, Earth for fourth rock from the sun, is the atomic armor to defeat this type of decay. So number one, we're here to destroy and plant the seeds of destruction of black hole decay. We're going to have a healthy universe. We're going to complete the starlight. We're going to protect the children, protect the vitals, and this is the same thing that comes back to us. We receive full armor and relief in the branch. That is sure, permanent. And this is the particle side where we have permanent terra firma. But then this becomes the controls of hell and stuff. Oh, that's why inconveniently that happened, blew up. Perfect bullseye, you guys. We are the revolution. It's you and me, the perfect circle. Believe it. I love you.